The team designed and crafted a completely new vehicle.
For what the land
road testing will prove if they got it right.
So it just needs to be a very
there were certain aspects that we knew we wanted to try and capture, i.e. a fresh look, every bit as powerful, but still we wanted to make sure that we drew from the long heritage that Corvette had, the DNA per se.
For Tom and Dave, that DNA got hot in 1963.
Well, C2 was a really important milestone car in the creation of the 6th generation Corvette that we've been working on, because I think more than any other Corvette, this one is universally liked.
Just the way the reflections work around the surface and flow around the body as you walk around the vehicle.
Having these fender forms that just kind of signify the importance of the wheels and the motion of the car.
It has to have personality and a lot of expressiveness.
We really wanted to capture that kind of a feeling, that kind of a spirit.
Wow, that's a Corvette.
5 inches shorter than the C5, it's now the length of its competitor, the Porsche 911. The wheels are nearer the corners of the car for better handling. A 6-liter V8 engine generates 400 horsepower, the most powerful ever. But it's what's been done to the front of the car that's the most daring. In the misty rolling hills of Germany's Rhineland is an unassuming town called Nuremberg. Here, the world's biggest auto companies test the cars of the future, away from prying eyes.
This racetrack is world famous. It's 15 miles a lap, 157 turns, and everybody's here. If you pull out of the pits, you'll see BMW, Jaguar, Porsche, Mercedes. This is where a performance car is graded. This is the most demanding racetrack in the world.
The Nürburgring is no glassy, smooth racetrack. It's more a super fast, uneven country road. But a true sports car will average 100 miles an hour around here. Corvette test driver Jim Nero is running hard.
We approach a jump called the Flugplatz. On a good lap, you'll catch quite a bit of air over here. And we got the double right-hand combination followed by a left. And we hit fifth gear at about 155 miles an hour into a hard brake zone.
It's the C6's first time on the Nürburgring, Jim's first feel of how the new car drives.
I just couldn't believe it when I took my first lap, how awesome the car was. It just drove very fluid and just so impressive out of the box.
With 5 months till launch, the German team needs to finalize 3 key areas: brakes, cooling, and suspension. Those real-world settings will be built into the show cars back in Detroit.
Shut it down. Actually, pop the trunk and we'll start getting data. Then you can shut it down.
I love my job. You get to come to the fastest racetrack in the world and drive Corvettes. It doesn't get any better than that.
Jim specializes in ride and handling. Tony Raffici, brakes.
Well, we'll dig into it.
And Rich Quinn, thermals and cooling.
So it wasn't so much brake fade as brain fade.
That was brain fade.
Okay.
Total brain fade.
In the trunk of each C6, a kind of black box recorder.
You got the other junction box then?
200 sensors throughout the car, pinpointing performance in key areas. But a gut check is just as important.
We can take measurements and know where we want to be, but it all comes down to how does the car feel when you're driving it. That's the bottom line. Is the customer going to like the car when he drives it? If he doesn't like the car, but we got good numbers, you haven't accomplished anything.
This is General Motors' massive wind tunnel in Michigan. It's where the C6's new shape was born.
A lot of time was spent on that mirror development, both for low drag and for noise.
400 hours spent molding shapes and bending smoke, lowering drag, improving balance, using aerodynamics to glue the car to the road. It's a game of give and take.
Each area affects another on the car. It's more kind of a domino effect. If you change something on the front corner, it'll affect all the way to the rear. Aerodynamics to me really isn't a science. It's more of a black art in many cases.
The wind tunnel is also where compromise has to be found between form and function.
We're taking air just in front of the air dam here, and as you can see, you're getting quite a bit of smoke blown through that wheel opening.
The wind tunnel engineers have found a problem. The front brake air ducts are lifting the car up. They've designed a smaller duct they think will solve the problem. But it's up to the Nürburgring team to test it.
The air comes up vertically in through this duct, cools the brake from the inside, and expands radially outward. And the more air that we can introduce to the wheel, generally the better brake cooling we get.
The C6 has the most powerful brakes ever used on a Corvette, and they generate a lot of heat. The air blowing through the duct cools them down, but the new version reduces that flow.
So we'll be definitely looking for fade.
Yes, we'll be looking for
early
fade.
in the session.
If the brakes overheat, they'll lose function or fade. The Nürburgring is the last place in the world you want that to happen.
We don't want to get crazy. I mean, if we go over bogey on fluid temperature, then we're done. We know.
Okay, you'll be monitoring the fluid temperature.
Yeah, I'll be monitoring.
This is where theory meets the road. It's a high-speed experiment. If the numbers are wrong, the drivers will pay the price.
Back to that Acura for a second.
Back in Michigan, there's been a leak.
Get the photos before the show, uncamouflaged.
News of the radical front end has hit the media.
Hybrid. So it will have fixed lamps. The pop-up headlamps are going to go away. They say that's for aerodynamic reasons and to save some weight.
And on the C4, they did a nicer job with the headlights.
Out in Corvette Heartland, the fans can't believe it.
You know, my dad had a 66, and when those headlights you could turn the headlights on before they came up. So the headlights would kind of show through the grill, and they would flip around and come up. And I just thought that was the neatest thing on the planet.
Other cars did that too.
Pop-up headlights have been a Corvette feature since 1963. But with the C6, their days are over.
That'll be debated amongst the Corvette aficionados forever.
Exposed headlamps was probably the most passionate, strenuous, arduous choice that was made on the whole sixth generation Corvette.
It's another decision reached in the wind tunnel. The fixed lights are aerodynamically invisible. And by taking the bulky pop-up mechanism out, the front end can be 2 inches shorter, improving handling. It's a risky move, but Tom Peters is holding firm.
To me, headlights are kind of like the eyes to the soul of the vehicle, the technological heart of the vehicle. So at the end of the day, if the overall statement is Corvette, then that was a successful and the right decision to make.
What the fans really want is a picture. The magazines have put the money down, and photographer Jim Dunn is on a mission.
It's like robbing a bank. That's where the money is, so that's where you go.
Jim staking out the test track, hoping for the money shot.